We're meeting in Veterans Hall, so just on the record, okay? Everyone's here, Corey check, we're all here. Review the minutes. Did you guys get a chance to review the minutes?
I did have a chance to review them.
Do you have any comments?
I do have a comment. I would like, one thing is that I don't usually get the minutes until just before the meeting. I'd like to get them a day in advance. We could have them emailed.
Yeah,
Okay?
you can do that, yeah.
So we have a chance to.
Because there's a lot in them sometimes.
Yeah,
This one is pretty straightforward. It does mention at the very end that I
Third page?
was going to, third page,
Yeah.
speak about the DOT traffic study in Sturbridge.
Oh, yeah.
And
Are you
the,
commenting on the minutes, or you want to
I
change the
did
minutes?
say that I did speak to her. Okay, that's all I'm
Okay.
We
mentioning.
could open it up for something else, but.
Okay, all right. So I move that we do accept them as presented.
I'll second it. So all in favor? We're all in favor, okay. So it's unanimous.
These are the three letters that went out. You want them in second copies of that, or?
All right, so this is for the whole town, right? This is for us, Sturbridge.
That one's for Sturbridge, yeah, that's
I
for,
mean, so Ken has, you know how we have Ken sign off on all of our stuff?
Right.
So this is a new signatory
Okay.
authority. So do you want to make a motion to
Yeah, I
have
make a
Ken?
motion to have Ken continue to sign for us.
Okay.
there's some update with the accounting office, so
I know.
everybody's getting a new, yeah, so,
You
yeah.
want, does somebody want to second it, please?
Yes.
Okay, so second it, so we're all in favor.
All in favor?
Ken doing it, so I just need to sign it, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
throw your,
Plus-
3 signatures on there, and that's easy business.
I'm just gonna pass it so each one can sign. Okay, Ken, updates on the coalition with Charlton.
Yeah, so we discussed that we were looking for a part-time Title V person over there. We interviewed somebody a couple weeks ago. We're in discussions with whether we're gonna make an offer or whatnot with that. So hopefully in January, I'll have an update on how that's going. Our last meeting, we only had part of we had a quorum, but we didn't have everybody that interviewed the gentleman. So we couldn't finish our conversation or make an offer.
And you think that Sturbridge would be able to utilize this person as well?
I think we'll be able to utilize them. Just a matter of, the conversation I had with Jim, it's how much we can, if he's willing to do office work with us, then we can utilize him regularly. If it's only field work, then it's only gonna be a couple times a month I use him, so.
Does anyone else have any questions or
No,
comments?
this is just Title V, right?
This guy is Title V, I think we'd eventually train him because they want everybody, they keep
Yeah, to know
throwing
everything.
funding money at us for training everything,
Okay.
so eventually we'd train him in something else, but right now this will be Title V, and Molly's been helping out with foods. Thea's like I said, last update, she's getting ready to go on her own in January, so
Okay.
Molly will be doing hotels and housing mostly, so this is just another tool for us to use that'll be at our disposal. And it's kind of nice to have since Jamie moved along and took a contracting position and she's not there for us to cover me
So,
when I'm
yeah.
gone. So,
Okay.
hopefully I'll have an update in January for you, and we've made an offer or moved on to a new candidate.
Okay, do you want to give us an update on what you're
Well,
going to ask?
the
The
traffic
DOT,
situation is,
New Boston, right?
it's a New Boston Road and Route 20, but it's a state project because of Route 20, so it depends on the DOT. And according to our town planner, that it is in the works to improve that intersection, particularly including Highway 131 going into town. But it's out of our hands pretty much. We just have to wait for that
Yeah,
to
and it
that to
could be a
happen.
while.
Yeah, oh, really?
It could be a while.
Okay.
But it is moved to that point anyway.
She's keeping tabs on it.
Great.
We should
From
be
the town's
okay.
point of view.
Let's see, I guess that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
There's nothing else, so we'll just go into the next thing. So I know that most of you all are here for the Noinsom trade discussion. So we're basically having a kind of a broad discussion overall about the Noinsom trade. because it came to our attention because of other things going on in the state about batteries and all other kinds of things, so we kind of thought about looking at overall some of the other industrial type companies that are in Sturbridge specifically, just trying to find out what they are currently doing or what they actually have plans to do in the future. So it's under the noisome trade. It's whether the use of the land for the long-term outdoor storage of wrecked, dismantled, unserviceable, junked, abandoned, or inoperable motor vehicles or parts thereof should be prohibited or required a site assignment by the Board of Health approving such operation in town pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 111, Section 143. So that's what we're here basically to discuss, whether or not we need to have a site assignment. And I know that some of you are residents that might want to speak, and then also the businesses that are here represented might want to also speak, because we did reach out to at least 3 of the businesses that we thought actually kind of fell within that category, to give you an opportunity to tell us what you're doing and so forth. So, does anybody here have any questions? No?
No, I'm good.
So I understand that Interstate Towing is here, and if they would like to come up and speak. Is there anybody else from another?
Cruise control?
Cruise control?
Cruise control.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yeah, so when you get to our microphones are, no one's going to hear you unless you speak in the mic.
Gotcha.
Thanh you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, we can hear you.
Okay.
It's just TV can't. You're on television.
Well, I want to thank Ken for inviting us out here. I appreciate the invite and allowing us to speak after all the hard work that we put into 698 Main Street here in Sturbridge. I had a short discussion today with Ken, and I was...
We start with just introducing who you are. And
Yeah, sorry.
Perfect.
I
Nope,
thought,
just for the record.
Jeremy Procon, Interstate Towing, here at 698 Main Street, Sturbridge. So this started in 2018, but I'll get to that in a second. But I want to explain myself first. Ken and I had a quick discussion today, and he talked about what I was going to show and present, and he used the word present, and I was already on my way home. So it's more of a Q&A, and I can explain.
That's fine. This is just a very...
Explain exactly what we did at that property and why we did it and what standards we met, and sort of, I think I'm not sure if you passed out some of our SOPs.
Yeah, we actually made copies. We have them here.
I wasn't even ready for that. I would have had a stack. But that being said, this project started in 2018, and in Sturbridge, if you look at the purple zoning, so to speak, in the book of where you can be in our industry, you had to be in an industrial zone.
Okay.
We had to identify an industrial zone to set up shop. Well, we found one at I think it was 198 Charlton Road in Sturbridge. And we started to do our soft design. We were into that for over, about $100,000, identifying crickets and frogs. And we finally got the facility to fit in that spot. But the Conservation Department or committee highly advised that we didn't put it there because of the work that had to be done. It could fit, but it just didn't make a lot of sense. So we moved on, and Rebecca in Conservation identified a property at 698 industrial zoned. So we purchased that, and here we are. To get to that point, and my point being, is it had to be industrial zoned, and which was tough in this town. However, we had to meet the standards to the town as well, which are very high, which they are for every town, every city in this state. That being said, we had to tie into state property as well, Route 20, which was a feat in its own. They have their own standards, peer review, et cetera, stormwater runoff, so on. So the moral of the story is we had to come up with SOPs for the state, SOPs for the town, and you guys all saw those early in the early years, and the site design was approved ultimately. So what am I here to present? I feel the bar should be kept to where we are and no less. And I think it should be set to our standard, which is already in the bylaws, I believe, because we use CMG Environmental, who, I'm a tow guy, I'm not an engineer, but to conform, we had to keep every drop of rainwater on our property. It couldn't run off to the state property, which meant on-site retention, underground retention, in the tune of $200,000. These boxes that are built under the asphalt, you don't even see them, but the water goes in, it gets treated for oil, it gets separated, and then onto the boxes, and it just infiltrates into the ground. It cannot hit Route 20. So how do you prevent that? With redundancy, a spillover into a swale, and that spillover, in case it ever spilled over the swale, had to go into another containment on the edge of Route 20, into another box. So total redundancy, very expensive. However, we have a lot of money invested into this property. I don't want to contaminate it. We bring in leaking cars, leaking trucks. I don't want to contaminate my property. What's it worth to me? We had this conversation, Ken and I had this conversation. What's the property worth to me if we contaminate the property? Or worse, it goes on to my neighbor's property, and then now I'm responsible for that. So it was money well spent. Now I have something that'll last 40, 50, 60 years. So I'm here tonight to, I feel like a little bit of a, I guess I'm pretty proud of it. I'm pretty happy that the town raised the standards and raised the bar. In business, it keeps the ones who don't want to invest away from the industry. So, and you have something, in my opinion, worth more in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, not contaminated. So.
How many cars do you generally bring in? Or at one time do you have at your facility? Just
Oh, good question. Yeah, we're not in the business of parting, dismantling. We are catch and release.
Right.
So, vehicle comes in for a crash. The average vehicle stays about 10 days
That's
on
right,
average. Yeah.
okay.
We are, I'll give you a worse number. We're stuck with approximately 15 to 18% of the vehicles that ever come in. We're stuck with them. So now we have to find a home for those. There's a process, Section 33A in Mass General Law. There's a process to get rid of these vehicles. We do that process as quickly as we can, as efficiently as we can, and then we have a sub-hauler come and take them away. We put it out to bid. Okay. So it could be a junkyard in New Hampshire, they come in with haulers, they take them all away. We identify those cars, we mark the windshields, and it's just it's a total conveyor belt. So yeah, that's.
What questions you guys have?
So, yeah, could you, Dr. Faison here, thank you. Could you explain then, you pick up the cars, you're a towing business. You pick them up, you bring them to your place. Are they possibly leaking or discharging materials?
No,
or
good question.
What kind of situation is that?
Good question. Out of the 100% of, we call them non-consensual, which means you didn't call for a tow truck, it showed up and were there for one reason or another. 40% are crashes, 60% are non-crashes, unregistered, unlicensed, so on and so forth. So from a numbers perspective, the 40% crashes, I would say more than half are leaking. More than half are leaking some sort of fluid. And you get a lot of people that say, oh, the antifreeze, that's not, it's biodegradable. It's not. Would you feed it to your dog or would you eat it no, so it has to be cleaned up. It has to be cleaned up properly and disposed of properly. It's slippery.
So does that happen at your facility then? I mean, do you guys completely?
I'll be honest with you, most of the leaking happens at the site.
Okay, yeah, right.
So
Yeah,
we
makes sense.
we clean it up, we mitigate the site as best we can.
Right.
But we own that stuff, so it has to come back. It has to come back and be disposed of. So what we do is we take the product out of the intersection, per se, and bring it to our, we have drums, 55-gallon drums, and what we call cradle to grave. So if a Honda versus a F-150 crash, we take the product, bring it to our yard, and we have a sleeve on our drum So we fill out a slip for the Honda, maybe a bucket or two of stuff, petrol fluids, and a bucket or two of the Honda, or the Ford F-150. We put it in the drum. Now, the drum can hold multiple crashes, but the sleeve holds every invoice for every car. So when the LSP picks up the drum, we know that these 5 cars went with that drum, and it was properly disposed of. On top of that, we have spill pads and containment, little fold-out little pools we put under the cars. Spill pads are what they are. You put them under the car, you put a rock under it, and wait for the rest of it to drip out slowly. And you throw the pad in the drum. So those are our, anything else that gets away goes into our separator. We have a separator in the parking lot and inside the garage. So any storm water that goes into the storm drains is separated before it goes into our infiltration boxes. It's a pretty neat system.
Can I ask you to I'm familiar with it, and I know some of the other people are. Can you elaborate what exactly the oil water separator is, how that works, the technology for them?
Yeah, absolutely. It's probably the size of this desk, maybe a little larger. What happens is oil wants to go to the top. So as the storm water comes in or rainwater comes in, and it's contaminated oil and water mixed in from the storm drain, it hits this box. It's a low pipe, and the pipe there's a higher pipe. The higher pipe goes. Like I need a drawing for this, but there's a low pipe and a high pipe. The water goes out the high pipe. The oil stays in the containment box. This has to be pumped out on average. We've been doing this a long time, 2 years.
Okay.
Every 2 years. The town of Sturbridge has a bylaw. We have to have this monitored quarterly. So we have a Title V company, Slim Bartholomew.
Slims, yeah.
Slim, yeah. They come in and they pop the cover, they inspect. No, you're good for another quarter, but every 2 years, and then they'll pump it.
Okay.
That's how the oil water separator works.
You guys deal with the batteries or the EVs?
Oh, good question.
Batteries, yeah.
That's
Good question. So we've done a ton of training, and we've seen we've lost a couple cars in our yard, the EVs.
Interesting.
So they're susceptible to runaway after a crash, particularly. We use a company called, ERC, I believe it's called.
So when you guys tow them in, just
Yeah, I'm
the
getting to that,
process
yeah.
of picking up an EV,
Yeah.
do you do anything other than just tow it out and take it to the yard?
So, well, I'm not going to pick on one particular brand, but say a Tesla crashes into a telephone pole. We obviously clean up the mess, bring it to the yard. We call, it's an agency, it's free, call 1-800-ERC. They identify the likelihood of a runaway based on the pictures, VIN number. Then they report back to us. Okay, you've got a 2023 Model 3. Open the glove box. On the left side, you'll see a breaker. Turn the breaker off. And this goes for the Ioniq 6 and the Tesla and so on. They tell you how to disable the vehicle. We have a pretty in-depth SOP.
I was
I'm hurrying through it, but
yeah.
and then that vehicle will either be isolated from other vehicles, or depending on the 1, 2, or 3 level that they give us back. If they give us a level 3 back, it's probably going to ignite. So it's grab your thermal, take a temperature of the battery, call us back, so on and so forth. So we monitor that's isolated. It's in the middle of nowhere or in a containment block.
So if that car is completely junked, or it's one of the 18% that you can't get rid of, and now someone's going to buy it from you,
Yes.
oh,
So
it's going to New Hampshire or wherever. Do the batteries stay with the vehicle?
they do. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
We don't take a.
You don't touch it, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we-
yeah, you're not
no.
the mechanics that are going to fix it,
No,
right?
no. Now, what we do, and I'm not sure if it's in our SOP, but we do disconnect batteries on standard crashed vehicles. So a non-EV, we'll take the battery off, disconnect the leg. That way that's how we lose vehicles. They crash in the front, you park them out there, the hazards might be going off, and they can self-ignite, especially when it starts raining out. You get arcing and so on.
Right, okay. Okay, so that's actually,
I think I'm giving you the worst of the worst tonight, but it's,
Well,
That's a good
we kind of
example.
like want, we want
have
to
to
know,
prepare.
we want to know the worst of the worst, because, right, that's, we need to know the worst of the worst.
yeah.
Do you guys have, what, go ahead.
Have there been some complaints, of anybody, neighbors or passersby or whatever, any complaints at all?
No, we're pretty desolate out there.
Okay.
Neighbors
The
are,
industrial zone's pretty desolate?
it is really.
If you get out
Yeah,
there,
we're on the
right.
Brimfield line. And we had one neighbor call because we had a little divot in the Route 20 before we were able to pave. This was a state problem, not a Sturbridge problem, but neighbor, I'm like, hey, call the DOT and tell them to let us pave. They wouldn't let us pave. It was
It's a DOT
early
thing.
spring and DOT.
But you know what it's like dealing with DOT. So there you go.
For anything, yeah.
I don't blame them. There was dump trucks coming by and it was shaking their house. That was the only complaint we've ever fielded.
Okay. And then, do you ever, so how long would you say is the average of vehicles stays there? That might be dripping or whatever,
Yep.
having discharge?
The
How
average
long
is
would it be there?
A leaking vehicle, well, the average stay is about 10 days.
10 days, okay.
That's the insurance process, people come and get their belongings, and then off to insurance salvage. They typically go to West Warren. There's a big insurance salvage pool there called Copart. That's where I would say 90% of the cars go. Yeah, a lot of people don't understand, when you crash your car, we don't hold it for very long. Your insurance company wants that out of our yard
Okay.
ASAP.
Yeah, because you're paying by the,
Right.
yeah.
Yep. But all the damage is done the first hour of the crash, whether it's on the scene, at your yard, you want to get all those contaminants, up.
The insurance adjusters come out to your yard.
Yes, yep. Big wrecks, we try to mitigate those fluids on the scene. Any TT crash, dump truck crash, rolled over, we pump those tanks before we move it. So we pump them out, we'll drill through the side of the tank, because the vehicle's on its side, we'll take all the fluids out of it, all the diesel out of it, roll it back on its wheels, bring it back to the yard. We're not gonna have 125 gallon spill at our yard.
Yeah,
Just
right,
won't.
yeah.
Nothing stays, no.
We deal with you guys with the food stuff,
Oh, yeah, we got a good one now, yeah.
so the food. Rich, do you have any? other
No, I'm good. I know.
questions? Do you have any other questions?
I think it sounds like you're really taking
Yeah,
care of the
well-
environment, and
Yep.
from toxic materials, so forth.
When did you guys open this? You said in 2018?
Well, we arrived in the town in 18, and we just got our CO in January of 20.
Would we be able to go take,
Yeah,
Or-
please, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's a class, it's the top of the line right now.
please, yeah.
I mean, the amount, I know some of the things the town asked for, which is over and above, which is really good, like he
Yeah,
said.
no,
And everything is there, so.
It's state of the art, it's pretty neat.
I remember they were questioning how much water was coming out of the bathrooms for a while. Yeah,
you
I
were
know.
there for that.
Yeah, I was there for that.
Yeah, we
But, I mean, that's the level of detail that went through on this thing.
wouldn't do that in 5 years.
Yes, I know.
One of the other things we have is a pump out. It's our, we're on city sewer, but it has to go uphill. So that quarterly inspection is for that as well. That's in the town conservation of bylaws. It has to be inspected as well, so.
okay.
We're talking $25 inspection, so it's not a big deal, It's good for us, too.
All right, so, we'll be back in touch with you.
Yeah.
I would like to take a tour,
Take a
You
field
should,
trip.
it's,
just to see how you
Yeah.
guys are doing things.
There's another way to get there, just text and drive.
Texted
Yeah, no, that's all right.
Please don't.
Thanks. We're not allowed to do that, that's against the law.
No, that was a,
we're getting a safe way.
from the towing company.
If they get a circle, you'll get more business too, because I heard that's for the tow truck companies.
Pull out a Noble, don't look.
I think you guys are, just pass that again. Thanks,
Thanks, Chairman.
Thanks.
thank you.
Cruise
You guys want to talk too?
cruise control?
Thank you guys for coming. I know that we just kind of invited you out the last minute, but can you tell us, so he was describing what he does with, at his
Introduce
facility.
yourselves. I didn't.
Robin,
Oh,
names.
your name, sorry, yeah.
Josh Roy, owner of Cruise Control Transportation, also a resident in town, 226 Roy Road.
Matt Perkins, Vice President, Cruise Control.
Thank you.
Thank you, yes.
So whoever wants to go.
Yeah,
Just
I
tell
mean-
us what you guys are doing there.
Yeah, absolutely. So very similar to Mr. Procon, as he just explained, majority of our vehicles, especially crashes, they leak out before we get to our facility. We do everything we can to make sure that there's no contamination or leakage from those vehicles. We do siphon out into the vehicles, into barrels as well. That's pretty much standard practice for the most part. When it comes to any kind of fuel or anything like that, we put them on 3M filter boxes. So most of the cars have that on them. Majority of our cars, anywhere from 15 to 20 days. If it's a wreck, it's actually faster than that. The insurance adjuster is usually out within 3 to 5 days. They'll come, they'll take a look at the car, take pictures, do their thing. But typically it'll go to Copar or wherever the insurance company decides for salvage.
Right, okay.
So majority of it, like I said, they leak out beforehand. We do the similar things to Mr. Procon. We use Speedy Dry, drip pads, things like that at that crash site, clean everything up. It goes into the barrel. We have an account with Safety Clean. They come and basically take all of our materials or fluids, mixed fluids, whatever the case is. Safety Clean will come, they'll pick it up, and they'll move it to their facility.
Okay.
Typical car with us, just like, interstate, we do get stuck with a high percentage of the cars, unfortunately. Our policy is we move them to a secondary yard in the town of Sturbridge, which is, there's a salvage yard there, and hold them after 30 days while we finish the 39A process. Just because we don't have the capacity to hold a bunch of cars at our property, I'm sure you're familiar with it. So we don't have the capacity for, I think we can hold 20 cars in the pen, that's it. So after 30 days, or as they approach the 30 days, if we feel like it's something they're not coming back for, we'll ship it to Southbridge, and it will stay there and await the rest of the 39A process so that we can dispose of the vehicle by law.
So you just have it there in Southbridge temporarily?
Yeah, and ultimately, if they get salvaged, they'll end up there anyway, so we just move it prematurely, it'll go there on hold while we're waiting to go through the process of the 39A.
Okay. I didn't know Southbridge had a place.
So most of those that are salvaged, those are people just walking away from the car?
Correct.
Yeah.
Either they crash it, they don't have insurance.
Insurance on it, right?
Or, the car's a real piece of garbage and they left it on the side of the highway or whatever. I think, I didn't come prepared with all different numbers for you guys because I wasn't really sure what we were looking for. I would say that our percentage of crashes is actually lower than what Interstate does, just based on what our market is. They're doing the Mass Turnpike, they have a lot more crashes. We seem to get a lot more of like the unregistereds and the abandons and things like that in town. Stuff like that. It'd be unfair for me to give you a number of what that percentage is, though,
Oh,
because I
that's
don't have
okay.
it.
We're just more like, particularly like with the fluids and that kind of stuff.
yeah.
So we're just looking at like from environmental perspectives and safety and,
The other thing is currently we're not involved in commercial vehicle recovery, so we don't have vehicles that have a high volume of fluid in them, so we're talking about cars that have 6 to, maybe 4 to 6 quarts of oil in them and, on the lower side of things, not to say that that's not a concern or an issue, but
Right.
it's certainly not as high of a capacity as, like 300 gallons of diesel fuel or something.
Right, yeah.
That he might have at some point. We don't have the separators in place like he does. That wasn't required, for our situation. It's not a new build. But we do everything that we can to mitigate any possible leakage. I do walk the property often. I check the perimeter of the property. There is a wetland behind us that we have to keep an eye on. We've already had to deal with conservation on that previously because, when we took over the property, there was a bunch of tires and junk back there that we had to clean out. So we watch that perimeter very closely to make sure we have no runoff and, parts flying out back and things like that from the wind or whatever, plastic bumpers, stuff like that. You feel free to come check it out anytime you'd like. It's not as impressive as what they have over there, but at least you get a clear picture of really what you're dealing with.
Are you located in industrial zone also, or?
So ours is on Brookfield Road, which was a pre-existing non-conforming property that housed Kabinski Construction. We do have a special permit that was approved by the town to operate out of there for our business, specifically trucking, construction, towing, and storing of motor vehicles
Okay, so that went through the selectmen or
through the ZBA.
Zoning.
or
Zoning.
zoning?
Zoning.
Okay, zoning.
Rich, you have questions?
No, I'm good. Just trying to think, how long ago was that, the zoning, do you remember? Before
So
your time, right?
I purchased the property 3 years ago now, so it's
Right.
been about 3 years, give or take.
Okay, so it's a non-conforming lot, but it was approved,
Correct.
okay.
Go ahead.
Can you reiterate or go over again, what do you guys do for containment when you get on your site? Like, you've done the work out in the field, when it comes back to you, what do you guys do? What was your process? What is it? Yep.
Yeah, so as far as, we're talking about a disabled motor vehicle from a crash accident.
Crash, accident, wreck, whatever it is, something that might be leaking something.
Sure. So typically, we evaluate the vehicle, obviously, at the crash site. We get the vehicle onto our tow truck. We bring it back over to our yard. We look at what the contents, if there's any leakage at that point before we move it, then we would siphon it out on site at that accident scene. So we're obviously not driving through Sturbridge and leaking coolant or oil everywhere. So we evaluate that directly at the accident site.
Very rare, though, because usually by the time we get there, it's
Right,
all
it's
on
all-
the ground. If it's leaking, it's already on the ground.
Understand?
So, probably a month ago, we had an accident where it was involved with a, vehicle hitting a U-Haul. It was a pretty nasty accident. Pretty much every bit of fluid on that vehicle was leaked out at that scene. The vehicle was completely dismantled, and we actually ended up holding it for reconstruction for the Sturbridge PD. So, for example, in that vehicle, there was not much for us to do. We basically get the vehicle, we collect everything from the damaged parts and everything else, we bring it over, and we store the vehicle for a reconstruction team or whatever else. In the sense where there's a vehicle and it is damaged and the fluids aren't necessarily leaking at that point, once we bring it back to our yard, we analyze, we look at where we are, we siphon everything out of that, we put it into the barrels as well, just like Mr. Procon said, very similar in that aspect, and then Safety Clean will actually come out and they take those fluids directly off our land.
Okay.
When you, and then I just follow up on that. So when you're siphoning it, I understand how all that works.
Sure.
Do you guys have any containment? Do you have anything laid down?
Yep.
Do you have how do you protect everything else around or from
Sure.
running off your
So-
lot?
So our impound is layered with wattle, tube wattles. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's a straw, basically a straw containment. We use it in a lot of environmental cases. So our entire perimeter is laid out with that. We also use 3M containment containers. They're basically plastic. They go underneath the vehicle if it is dripping. But ultimately, our main goal is to remove those liquids so that doesn't happen.
Okay, thanks.
And then as far as batteries, I mean, myself, I work for Tesla and SpaceX prior to joining Cruise Control, so I am very familiar with, for Tesla, those vehicles are never to be stored with other vehicles, especially gasoline vehicles, because they can basically
Ignite.
ignite at any time. So those vehicles are actually stored with a fire retardant blanket. We cover that vehicle completely with that blanket, therefore there's no possible way for that to happen, and if it does happen, it will be under that blanket and it will lift it out.
Smother it.
We also use steel containers, so you'll see that we have steel containers at our shop. We have 20-footers and 40-footers. We'll actually put that vehicle directly in that container if it's badly damaged to prevent anything else from happening or any environmental causes to avoid wildfires, anything else.
good.
And I utilize my old experience based on that to be able to utilize this because I understand how.
So the vehicle would be put into the container?
Yes, ma'am.
That's interesting.
Yes, ma'am. Any EV vehicle. Because the point
The
of.
EVs or EVs, yeah.
Because it's, again, it can spontaneously happen, and there's no, water won't put it out. At that point, you have a chemical fire, and ultimately, you need special extinguishers and everything else to put
So
that.
do the batteries, like I was asking him, when you guys sell it off or someone takes it away, the batteries stay with the vehicle? So
So
like,
there is a process in that, especially for EPA, if you look it up for the EPA, you actually are supposed to remove those batteries from that vehicle, because at any point, those batteries can ignite, at any point. So those batteries, before it's in transport to a salvage yard, they're supposed to be
okay,
removed.
okay, that's a good,
ma'am.
that's a question we have.
And ultimately, not to mention battery acid, the acid coming out of those vehicles, the containment water for those batteries can also get into your land, and I mean, no separator's ever gonna take that out. It'll actually eat the plastic of most separators. So
That's,
it's
that's a
very-
regular battery for a gasoline-powered or diesel, the regular batteries you're talking about.
Rarely any battery, but specifically Tesla, I can speak to, because that's where my experience is.
Yeah.
And my subject matter, I guess, if you can say that. Yeah, for those batteries, it's incredibly dangerous and corrosive. So anything where that water or that discharge comes from that battery, it will actually contaminate it. So if you have a tablespoon of battery acid, for example, it can contaminate up to 1,500 gallons of water.
How do you dispose of those?
The batteries itself. So there's only 3 locations you can actually send Tesla batteries to on the East Coast. One of them's upstate New York, the other one's in Ohio, and there's another one in Georgia. And you can actually send those, and they'll actually buy them from you.
Okay.
The batteries themselves, because majority, they can save the cells in them, they can rebuild the batteries, so there's a lot of things they can do with them. But ultimately, that's what we do.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've yet to have a Tesla that we had to deal with, but
Okay. I've seen
Not
one,
that was- not
I've
that
seen
was-
some driving
Find them on
around
the side of
town.
the road.
not that it
yeah.
was smashed, but.
Yeah,
As far as the regular car batteries, those stay with the vehicle.
so they
when
just
to
go with it,
salvage,
okay.
yeah. We do have batteries from our own trucks, obviously, that we swap out. We work with Interstate Battery. They take them back as cores, so it's a 1-for-1. They
Yeah,
bring us a
right,
new
yeah.
one, they take the other one back. So we're not sitting on,
Batteries
a pile of
sitting around,
batteries.
yeah.
The beautiful part is they'll take any battery, so even if it's not a 1-for-1 swap, we give them to them all the time. That's just cash money right there, so, for
Yeah,
us.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So most of that stuff then, before it would go to your other facility in Southbridge, would you take the batteries out?
No.
Or no? Oh, you leave them in
No,
there?
the salvage center would process those. Like, so if those cars are on, at that point, they're only on hold, so we can't do anything to them yet.
Oh, I see.
Once they go through the 39A process and we can dismantle them or sell them, whatever, at that point, the salvage yard would be the one that removes the batteries and
But if it's
disposes
a
of them.
Tesla, it's not going to that yard, right? No, okay. Or any other electric vehicle?
Correct.
Okay.
And we can provide you with SOPs as well, if, I mean, I can get an email address or something along those lines, I can get you guys all those
Can do.
SOPs.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be I mean, we're kind of interested in that kind of stuff, just
Yeah,
overall, because
absolutely.
it's good to know what people are doing in the environment, too.
I'm also not as familiar with your site as I am with Interstates, mostly because we got to go there regular, and we just permitted them. What is your parking lot surface, and are you fully covered over there? I know you've got wattles containing it, but what's the surface on there now?
So it's pavement, most of it's pavement, and then there's regrinds on it, on the
Okay.
rest of it.
But it's solid, so you don't have, it's
Solid.
not a porous surface.
It's not a porous surface.
Okay, and you have no groundwater monitoring wells on site or around?
No.
And our inbound site is within, I believe it's 6-inch drop off, so it is contained in that area. So it's below the actual surface of that baseline.
Oh,
So the water will
interesting.
protect it from any discharge going anywhere else if there is anything.
Okay. Ken, do you have any other questions?
Nope, that covers.
I was going to ask the same question. Do you get
Sean?
complaints from people, or are you getting complaints for anything, noise or something else?
Not right now, not right now, not that I'm aware of. Not that's been brought to my attention.
Okay, good.
I'm good.
You good?
Ken got him, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you guys.
Thank you
for
very
coming in.
much.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
Guys,
Could we come out and see it when you guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can call the office and anytime.
All right, great, thank you.
my email, so feel free to, any SOPs you want to send over, send them.
If we have any Tesla questions, too.
Yeah, we know now.
Thanks a lot. Or SpaceX, you know.
SpaceX.
We might need to go there
Rocket launcher.
at some point. Okay, so, who was the next one on the agenda? Is there anyone here?
Kerboy, if they're here, Kerboy here? Anybody from Kerboy here? Oh, no.
No,
I don't think
and
so.
open it too.
I wanted for one quick point of interest, just general knowledge that,
Do you want to speak to the board? Or do-
You gotta come back.
in the audience,
In the audience.
there's a company in Boxborough called CBK Towing,
CPK?
and they have an issue where they had a car fire, and the fire department came down with AFFF. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the aqueous fire film. It's a foam. And they had a separator,
Okay,
and they foamed the car, they knocked down the fire.
with the phone?
It went
The
in
foam
that
went
thing?
through just goes right through the separator, doesn't matter, it thinks it's water, right into the infiltration. They're dealing with $1 million cleanup right now.
Because you're talking
And
about
they didn't
the,
have,
They didn't know the difference.
they didn't know, they just used it, and now it's, the property's contaminated, and they don't have the insurance. They don't have the, but we do, but they.
I gotcha.
Was that a PFAS
Yeah,
foam?
that's what I was gonna say,
Yeah,
PFAS.
PFAS foam?
So I'm not sure, I asked, and it's in our SOP with Sturbridge, town of Sturbridge Fire, not to use it on our property.
Okay.
They claim that the stuff that they're using now is not
PFAS?
PFAS.
No, and honestly, and 20 years ago, we weren't looking for PFAS, so whatever foam we have now, we'll be looking for in my
Right.
kid's lifetime,
It's,
so.
well, it's still out there.
It still is.
Goshen, the
That's good to know.
air bases gave it away, and town, small Boxborough, they're clearly using it, or were using it. So I just wanted to bring that up,
Yeah.
being the health department. I think it's
Yeah, well,
important. not-
yeah, because now everything's
Yeah,
getting
no, our
tested.
fire
for
department has
PFAS.
modified some stuff on their things, and batteries are, that's a part of our line of questioning, because there's other stuff coming down the road with other battery programs that we're concerned about.
That's why we were asking some of the battery questions too,
Yes.
because that's
So if you-
coming.
But if you wanted to know anything, they'd love to tell you, the CBK, they've gone on a tour telling
Really?
every tow company that, tell your fire department not to use AFFF on your property.
Maybe they should post big signs.
They're pretty involved in the association, so they've gotten the word out that
Oh,
way.
boy.
That's why I want to go.
But that completely contaminated everything.
Oh, it ruins your land, there you go.
Yeah.
It has to be dug up, they just don't
I'm
have.
surprised the state hasn't kind of,
There should be a
Changed
fund,
the
I think there
laws
should be a
where they-
fund for that, for them. That's what they're going after. Everybody pays a penny a gallon
Yeah.
into the fund.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but,
thanks for the info.
Appreciate that.
yeah, I just want to get that out.
No,
Thanks for coming in, Jeremy. If and when we get to a point for field trips, I'll give you a call.
Yeah,
Alright.
call myself.
Yeah, I know where to get you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
do you want to bring up the Kerboy? They're
You
not
said-
here. Would you like to speak?
Would I like to speak, or have you?
Well, we know they're not a towing facility,
Right.
right? So we know
They're a
that
long-term storage
they are-
facility.
Right, a long-term,
Yeah.
very long-term storage facility. I did actually walk there, so did you. These guys didn't walk it. Do you want to tell them what your impression was of the facility?
I don't have an impression of the facility, because we were
Other
looking
than
at,
that-
we were
that
looking at the
there's a
wetlands
lot of
regulation. Yeah,
cars
so
there,
There's
right?
a pile of cars that are still there. And I was hoping they were gonna come tonight and make a presentation, at least
We
let
just
us
don't know what they plan to do there.
We don't know what they plan to do, we don't know how they're salvaging or what they're doing, if they're, so the questions pertinent tonight were,
What are you
how are you
doing there?
siphoning stuff up,
Yeah.
how are you protecting runoff, those kind of things. So we don't have that answer at Kerboys.
Well, how can we go about getting a site visit? Will they allow us on to see what's going on?
Unlikely without a,
Yeah, without a subpoena or something.
the last time was a court-ordered.
Yeah, that's why we got to go,
Conservation,
yeah.
so,
Well, I think we should probably look at, since we don't know what they're doing, they're not really here to kind of tell us what they are doing.
I know.
I think it would be preferable to ask them to come before us so that they can tell us what they're doing, and that would be through having a site assignment.
I'm gonna make the recommendation
Process.
that you've already asked them to come before you, and they didn't show up or respond,
Well, they just didn't respond, right? Yeah.
or show up, they're
Yeah,
both, so.
that's true.
Neither or, so we know that, and the question that you're asking, it's something in a site assignment for noise and trade is based on,
Well, we know
they
that we
may
have
do
some
something, but we already know that they've polluted over there.
Yeah.
previously.
Yep,
Yeah.
so we don't know what's going on, so we have no idea what the standard operating procedure is, what they're doing in the future.
So
So-
something like what Interstate gave us is
Yeah,
excellent.
that's a pretty good
To
sheet.
tell us the standard operating procedures for EV response and working with the fire departments,
Their containment
Responses
system,
with
their
the
containment
EVs or-
system in their yard, how it operates and works.
just
you know.
overall, how,
Yeah.
what's going on overall. And I think we would have a number of concerns, since they're not here to tell us what they're doing.
Also, I think we should-
And there have been complaints and
we can open that up, right?
concerns.
Yeah, no, we haven't voted on anything. I think it's pertinent to open it up for residents if they want to speak on behalf of themselves or any business in that area. Is there
Ed, you-
anybody that would
You
like
want to come up,
to,
Ed, on from, you know, all right?
would anyone like to come up from any person? We had it in the big room for you guys. to-
Yeah, that's,
We thought maybe people might want to come, so.
My name is Eric Parzik. I'm from 69 Mashapog. I am an abutter to the Kerboy property. Some of the other neighbors here and myself, we've gone to several Conservation Commission meetings, hearings, whatnot. I don't know what's going on that property, and that's my concern. And that's why we're coming to meetings like this, is to try and compel answers from that property, because as an abutter, as a citizen within the town, we'd like to see that business flourishes and, things are above board, and we do not believe that that's what's happening at that property. There's been direct questions asked of those property owners, and they've deflected at meetings, selectmen meetings, and at conservation. And we don't feel like they are doing things in the best interest of the town. It's only in their best interest. So, just speaking for the other neighbors, I don't know what anybody else feels, but as my main concern is that we know what's going on over there. And to my knowledge, nobody does. So,
The question is, have you seen anything?
so we don't see a lot. We try to stay off the property.
Right.
We do hear a lot of activity.
Okay.
Right, recently?
Recently, yeah.
Okay.
You hear trucks, large vehicles. Some other folks have mentioned that they've seen construction equipment. I haven't seen that, but I can certainly say that I've heard what sounds like large construction equipment moving around the property at times. We've heard large trucks moving around the property quite frequently in years past, and then there'll be a lull. And then we'll hear it again for, 3-4 days. You'll hear some activity over there. You'll notice that there'll be new wrecked something at the front of the property where you can see it from Mashapog driving by. There'll be, a 53-foot trailer that looks like it's fallen down a flight of stairs, parked out in front of the outbuildings there.
And
So,
how long ago was that?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, when was the last time you saw signs of activity?
the last time I've actually seen anything would probably be in the summertime.
Okay.
We did see a couple of trailers appear there in the summertime, and there was I think a couple of, like a Winnebago-style motorhome type things. We saw one of those that looked like it had been in an accident, parked up on the property. We don't see a lot of activity with our eyes, but we do hear things, and we'll see things that'll be there in the front, and then they'll disappear. They'll either leave the property,
So
or
they're
they'll
still
be moved
utilizing
further
it as a
back.
junkyard, in your opinion?
In my opinion, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. I think it's a dumping ground. That's my opinion. I can't prove it, but that's what I feel, is that he's the owner who we've met at one of the Board of Conservation meetings, is using it as a dumping ground for his other businesses. He has several other businesses out in the Shrewsbury, Springfield area that, towing businesses and gas station type related things, and the kind of things that you would be using a disposal facility for.
You think he's using it potentially as like a
Just a
dump,
holding
a dump,
area.
a dump?
A dump.
That or a
That's
holding
my
area.
opinion. Yeah, again, I can't prove any of this.
Yeah.
It's just, I've been there for over 10 years, and in over 10 years, I've never seen any other business going on there. He told us at the Conservation Commission meeting, we don't understand the business of selling parts out of that property because it's all on the internet. Nobody can find anything about that on the internet.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Other folks I know have tried to look into that, and they haven't found anything. And that was actually after we directly questioned the continuation of the business. It's a non-conforming property, and his license was contingent upon continuation of the business that he purchased. But we've seen no continuation of any business there other than a dumping, which I think it's just benefiting his other businesses.
Okay. Have you seen any runoff or anything with your own eyes or possibly on your property?
We have a monitored well system. We're part of the properties that CMG monitors.
Okay.
So I can say that we've never seen anything like runoff or whatnot. When they've tested our well, we've not had problems pre or post treatment. There's some detectable MTBEs on some of the sites I know, but we've never had a problem where we are. And we're at the front edge of the property. Some of the folks on the South Road side, they seem to have more problems because they're back where a lot of the vehicles were actually dumped and
Okay.
disposed of and things like that. And they could speak to that. But for where we are, we're right on Mashapog. We're right at the front of that property. And we're also on the hillside leading up to the property. So the folks on the other side, on like the Westville side, they seem to have the water flow coming from those little streams and whatnot goes towards them, not towards us.
Okay.
So we can't say that we've ever had a problem on our side.
How often do they test your well?
It used to be twice a year, now it's once a year.
Okay.
And there was some speculation about they were going to ask to have that ceased because there's not been any issues with any of the wells, but I would really push back against that if they wanted to try and do that. That wouldn't be okay.
Did they have to put a treatment system? They did.
My understanding was that it was part of a settlement for selling the land to the current
Your
owner.
system, though, that they test already has a treatment system
Yes,
for treating something, so
Yeah.
when they're testing it after treatment.
they're testing pre and post
Oh, they are doing
treatment.
pre,
So
okay.
they take a sample before it goes through. It's a charcoal system so that it's basically for the MTBEs, is my understanding of that from the documentation that I have. And that was because that was detected during the time that they were trying to sell those plots for development. And so that mitigation and monitoring was put in place as a condition of sale. It was my understanding. When we bought the house, that was my understanding.
Okay. Is there anybody else that would like to speak?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hi.
Good evening. My name is Jared Cowden. I'm a resident of 2 South Road. First and foremost, I'd just like to thank this committee for taking up this topic. It's very important to myself, and as you can see, it's very important to the neighbors that live in the Curb Boy Junkyard area. I'd just like to add my voice to what was already said. What's concerning for us is an extreme lack of transparency. And as you can hear, there have been meetings that have discussed this. The Conservation Committee has taken photos of the property. They've seen that there has been land that has been cleared for additional vehicles to be placed on that property. There's a lot of allegations about the business practices of this organization. There are allegations, and so I don't know that I can prove anything, nor do I think that the neighbors can prove anything. But I think it's something that has to be explored because this is our well water, right? It's the well water of the children that live in this area. And so it's something that needs to be taken into consideration, and I think it's something that needs to be explored. And I think that this new business needs to be held account and at least be held to a certain degree of transparency in their business practices.
Yeah. Thank you. Do you see anything, is there anything that you observed or hear?
Not anything that I can visually observe. So the way that my property lies is it's down the street from the Curb Boy practice, and so it's not something that I can visually see or keep an eye on day to day. But as was said, as you're passing that property, you can see that there are definitely movement of vehicles.
There's
on
stuff
that
going
property.
on.
Exactly.
In the last year?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
So they're operating some type of business out of the location currently without a license?
That's what it appears to be.
And you can't find anything on the internet
On what?
about them doing business,
Can't find
Right.
anything, what?
about Curb doing business. They're not on the internet.
No, you can, they have,
Well, they were on
they have a
and off.
I
website.
don't know. But I think that goes to the licensing through
It goes to the,
Selectmen. I
yeah.
think that was suspended.
You know,
The town did not relicense them.
Yeah.
from
right,
what I
so now you have an
understand, so.
unauthorized,
Yeah.
totally.
So is there anything else you want to add, or? what-
No, again, I just
Is your
like to-
well, was your well also one that was affected?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
And so
And
the
how
same
often are they
treatment-
testing? Once a year?
Once a year. Yep. Yep. So again, a very big point of concern for this neighborhood, as we've already experienced some of the effects of, what can happen when property is not clearly taken care of.
Well, we don't know
by-
what's going on the property.
So, again, thank you for taking this into
Yeah,
consideration.
thank you for
Thank you.
coming.
Appreciate your time.
Is there anybody else that would like to come up?
Hi, my name is Jonathan Scott. I'm at 67 Mashapog Road, so right between Jared and Eric. My wife and I bought our house in 2019, and at the time, the junkyard was a concern. And I looked them up online, and everything that I could find about them said no longer accepting new vehicles, no longer operating. I said, great, no new vehicles coming in to be worried about spilling fluids. And our seller, unfortunately, did not disclose the well water contamination. So we didn't find out about that until I said, this water softener that they told us about isn't actually working. And started calling around to get it serviced, and ended up talking to CMG and got the whole backstory on the water from them. So that was a little bit of a surprise to us right after becoming homeowners in town. I don't see a lot of activity up there, mainly because whenever I'm leaving my house, I turn left instead of right.
Okay.
To head into town instead of going over the hill to Southbridge. But we do often see, if I'm going by on the rare occasion, they've moved vehicles to block the entrance,
Okay.
or they've moved them to unblock the entrance every few weeks. I don't know if that's just for personal access, for them to inspect what's going on back there. I did go on the site visit back over the summer and was not impressed with what I saw as far as, I wouldn't guess that they have any standard operating procedures. I was at the Conservation Committee meeting last week, and the owner actually stated that when he bought the property and started moving vehicles around, he had no idea he wasn't allowed to operate within any distance of the wetlands.
It's kind of like a state law.
Yeah. So,
All right.
based on that, it didn't seem to me that he's done any due diligence as far as how he should be operating the business.
Yeah, I
And
don't
that's a
know.
concern.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I was in the audience tonight, Interstate Towing, I was very impressed with, their description of what they have set up to protect their property.
Yeah, that's why we're trying to look at everybody to see what they're doing and how they're doing it and so forth. And I think they might set the standard of the best way to go.
Agreed. Yeah.
How often are they testing your well?
When we moved in, they were testing quarterly, or told us they were testing quarterly. They started off actually doing it twice a year, and at this point, they're doing it once a year.
Okay.
We do have typically low levels of MBTE before the treatment tanks.
Okay.
But none after the treatment tanks.
Okay, well, that's good.
I think there's been maybe twice in the 6 years that we've been in the house where there was nothing detected before the tanks. But there's usually some kind of low levels.
Okay, so they're still picking up low levels.
Yeah.
All right. All right, well, thank you. Is there anything else you want to add? Do you hear any noise or anything like that?
So I work from home, so there are often days where I can hear construction equipment, but because of the visibility around my house, I can't really tell if it's coming from the junkyard or if it's coming from further down Mashapog Road in the other direction. In that little valley, the sound kind of echoes around, and I can't quite tell which
Is it
direction.
construction equipment or like beep, the backup beep up, the
Yeah.
beeping noise? The
Yeah,
backup
there's been a
beeping?
couple times that I've heard it, and then seeing, okay, there's, a DPW truck, on South Road, doing some kind of work, but there's other times I can't see anything. And I've got a pretty good line of sight around the intersection with River Road.
Well, now that there's no leaves on the trees too,
Yeah.
you could probably see a lot more.
So I can't see into the junkyard because those are pine trees.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, and it's a pretty good distance.
And I will add for the board, just so you guys may or may not know, there are two other contracting firms that are within similar distance, one on the other side of the valley and one right on River Road.
It could be.
But they're not moving the vehicles to the front and blocking it though, right?
What were you
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about, when
yeah.
you're asking about
Sound,
signage?
here.
There's
yeah.
multiple trucks and other things are backup things, loaders and
No,
trucks.
I mean, they
so
could be
just
working, doing
yeah.
anything around there. I was just
Yeah,
wondering
it's
if they,
a parent on River
Eric
Road.
is there, and then Piapi's got a plot up around the corner when you go up the edge down into
Yeah.
the left, so. So,
all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's anybody else that would like to come up and speak.
Excuse me. Good evening. Scott McCarthy, 22 South Road. I'm in a butter. I've got a large property, which you all are welcome to tour anytime. There's plenty that you can see from my property. I'm a hunter and an outdoorsman, so I'm out in the woods a fair amount. I agree with the sentiment and comments that have already been spoken about the lack of transparency and the thinking that it's essentially being used as a landfill. And again, you all are welcome to witness that from my property. You've got open permission. I work from home. I'll give you my number. You can text me. We'll take a walk anytime. There's also been like several instances of documented bad behavior with this particular owner. We know that they've done work on the buildings without permits, come and done that, checked that afterwards. This was several years ago at this point. You know, they claim as though it's been a continued use. It's not a continued use, as Jonathan mentioned. I witnessed it from my property when they were clearing the trees in the wetlands. And, you know, we can all just claim, oh, I didn't know any better. There's aerial photos that show it, and they'll deny that they actually performed any of the work. You can see from when I purchased my property in 2013, you can see that it's empty in 2015. You can see the trees that are cleared currently. This is all in the town's GIS. You can just look it right up.
Right.
It's evident.
Satellites don't lie.
The gentleman from Interstate is welcome. Hey, come tour my property, check it out. These are all the things I do. This particular owner's been nothing but stay away, stay away, stay away. You know, people that act in that way have something to hide. That's my own experience and just, you know, common sense, I would think. Like
Now, from your property, what do you see? You're seeing activity too, like continuous, like in the last year?
I don't notice that as much. Again, the property that we're talking about, it's a huge property, as is mine, so there's a relatively large buffer. I personally haven't noticed work, I'd say, it's been at least a year, which I physically saw with my own eyes. I'm a hunter. I tracked a wounded animal through their property, so whether or not I should have been on it or not is, you know, shame on me if I shouldn't be trespassing, but I did track a wounded deer up over the runway, and coming up over that runway, there was a hole, whether it was by them or others, that was probably 20 feet in diameter and 10 feet deep, filled with tires. Now, again, was that recent activity when I saw it 2 or 3 years ago, or was that, you know, pre-existing? Who knows? But it's there, and there was a giant excavator sitting there. So whether they had just excavated that hole or whether they created the hole to bury the tires, I don't know. But it all exists. It's all up there. You know, since then, the property owner has come to these meetings that these guys have referenced and said, you know, nobody should be allowed on the property, which again, I understand, but I believe as a hunter, I have the right to track a wounded
I think
animal.
we had to sign a release to walk the property.
Right, right. So, people that are doing things above board shouldn't have anything to hide. This place has got everything to hide, and they've always been standoffish, and there's always an excuse, or, well, I didn't know about the wetlands, well, I didn't know I was supposed to get a building permit, well, I didn't know I needed a building license. Like, at some point, enough's enough. I mean, it's a major problem, and then the people that have had contaminated wells, let's not wait until the wells get contaminated again to do something about this. Like, it's kind of a foolish way of thinking that says, okay, the groundwater seems to be getting better over time. Okay, great. Who's to say that may not come back next month or a year or as soon as the testing stops?
No, I mean, yeah, we have to test wells all the time.
It's crazy to think about, given what we know about what Interstate is doing and what, you know, state, local jurisdictions typically regulate versus what has been sort of allowed under this notion of existing non-conforming. I think the whole thing is ludicrous, to be honest. 100% ludicrous. Like, everybody can see what's going on, and we can't just allow this to happen under some, you know, grandfathered in when everybody knows it wasn't. The operation stopped for several years. They don't currently have a license to operate. Couple that with all the rest of their infractions. I mean, I think it's kind of crazy that we're here talking about it, to be honest.
All right.
So,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
And again, anytime you guys want, 22 South Road, I'll give you my name and number, and
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We actually
I've
might
got
take,
business cards in my truck if
we
you'd
might
like.
take you up on that.
Okay.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Anybody from the audience? Going once, no, twice, 3 times, okay. All right, so I think I heard quite a bit here.
Yeah,
I do have concerns about buried tires because it's
There's
illegal.
exposed tires, sorry, if you want me back to the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just for the microphone, thanks.
Again, if you want to, you can come and view from my property. I've got a 2-acre pond on my property which drains through their property, which.
You test
of course-
it?
I'm sorry?
Have you tested the water for that?
In my pond, no. I test my own well water. That's, my water is not part of the
I was just
program, so
curious as the pond being closer to the property.
I haven't tested the pond for anything. No, it's recreational. We fish and ice skate and
Okay,
whatever on it. But the water drains through this property. And again, you can walk my property and see in the wetlands where the tires are. So I'm assuming conservation's got an issue with tires being disposed of in the water.
I did walk the property and I did see sporadic tires, not like
you're saying one big spot.
pile, not
You
a
saw
pile of tires.
Sorry?
You saw one big pile in one area?
I did, it was essentially a
Hole.
excavated hole
Oh,
full of tires.
okay.
Now, again, I don't know if that was there for the last 50 years or if
Yes,
that's new.
yeah, I know.
But I do know that there was an excavator sitting there. And whether, the excavator dug those up or was burying more, I don't know the answer.
Okay.
But again, from the north and east side of my property, you're welcome to, you can see that those are the sides that are the major borders, and you're welcome to take a look and see whatever you want to see.
But we don't know what is happening at that property.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's the
And we don't
bottom
know.
line.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We know that they are trying to get licenses through the town of Select Board,
Which hasn't happened.
which hasn't happened. And we also know that they're before the Conservation Commission on several things, with an NOI. I did read the NOI,
Okay.
but I still don't understand what they want to do there. So there's no description on any of the activities that they actually want to do. So it's my opinion that I think they would be a candidate for a site assignment.
Well, we've heard pretty clear description by multiple people in the area, with complaints and concerns, and
We need to get them in to know what they're doing.
That's,
I think we have to respond to that.
So if we ask them, tell them that we're going to actually do a site assignment on your property, it would behoove them to not come to our meeting, like they would want to come to our
let me
meeting.
ask the lawyer, okay?
Yeah.
What legally is the next step?
Sure. So for the record, Luke Legere, I'm special town counsel to the town on this matter, and here to answer questions like that for the board tonight. So the board, having heard from the public, having heard from a couple of the companies, excuse me, who use their properties and operate their businesses in such a way that they sort of qualify for what the board's considering here tonight.
Right.
Storage of wrecked vehicles. I'm going to
Yeah, okay.
overly simplify a little bit the subject matter. Really, what you're here to consider tonight is whether that type of a use is such that the board decides you really should have a site assignment process to allow the board to have some oversight, some degree of regulation over those types of uses. And I'll just read for you from the statute, the state statute that grants you the authority to have a site assignment process for a use like this. This is General Law, Chapter 111, Section 143. And it says that where the board finds that a particular use, quote, may result in a nuisance or is harmful to the inhabitants, injurious to their estates, dangerous to the public health, or may be attended by noisome or injurious odors, the board has several options at its disposal. If the board doesn't make such a finding, then that's the
end of it.
If the board does make such a finding, essentially you have the power to prohibit that type of use altogether. We're not going to allow that anywhere in town.
We just say no.
Sorry, or the second option is what we just mentioned, which is to have those companies operating their properties in such a way come before you for a site assignment. It's essentially a permitting process.
Yeah.
And as I said, it allows the board an opportunity to really do what I've been hearing you just say you'd like to do. I would say both with respect to the companies that came tonight and those that haven't, which is get a clear understanding of what exactly your operations entail, what they look like, what are your standard operating procedures, what processes do you have in place to ensure protection of the environment. And I think we heard tonight some really good answers to those questions.
I think the town has a number of good things already set up.
Yeah, I would agree.
But this is a different example completely.
And right, and we have, so we've heard some good examples, and I would say that if the board decides that you would like to require a site assignment process for this use, companies like those that we heard from tonight won't have a terribly heavy lift coming in front of you because they've essentially already done what needs to be done, and they're just going to come and report to you, here's what we do. And you might have, as a board, some suggestions, some recommendations, some requests to be a little more specific, to tighten a couple things up. You might be happy with what they're doing altogether.
Visit them.
Yeah.
Right, but that's, and I would say that if the board does vote to require a site assignment for this type of use, then the next step, as Linda suggested, is essentially writing to these businesses to say, okay, we voted, we are going to require a site assignment process for your business operation, apply, and you essentially invite them to apply. Mm-hmm. And if they don't apply, we can talk about what. That's the second step. You're essentially, then you're in an enforcement posture.
Yeah, okay.
Right, but hopefully you don't have to get there. Hopefully the applications are filed. You could give them a period of time within which to file those applications. And it gives you an opportunity to have those questions answered, to understand fully what the operation entails, what protections are in place, make sure they're satisfactory to protect the public health, safety, and welfare of your residents and their properties.
Plus what we're hearing, they have anything from the town even to be running a business right now.
So
That's a different.
Yeah, I know, I understand, but that at the very least is a problem, that you have a company running with no overhead.
Well, and I think it just is a problem in terms of oversight and regulation generally, right? And that's ultimately what this all comes back to, is really just trying to ensure that businesses operating within the town of Sturbridge are doing so in a responsible manner. And that's well within your authority, that's well within your power. You have that power granted to you by the state legislature. And so I think really that's the decision for you here tonight, is based on what you've heard. Do you think this industry, this type of use, is one that should require a site assignment process in front of the Board of Health?
Can I ask you, just from a legal point of view, I understand, do we not want this type of business, but we're actually going after one company. Is that kind of?
No, we're not.
It doesn't, right?
We're not going after one.
You know what I'm saying?
We're looking at an industry.
Yeah, I know, but we're also, I'm just asking a question. We're also looking at one individual.
Well, I would say that I guess I don't view it quite that way.
Okay.
I understand your point, though.
Yeah.
And I think it's come to a head.
It's come to a head.
Because as Linda says, we have, essentially several companies that have been invited. 2 showed up. I think we're very transparent in the answers to your
I'm
questions.
fine with that. I just wanted to make sure
and
that this is like, they would come back and say, we're being picked on particularly.
Well, I think that you've made pretty clear on your agenda in past discussions by actually reaching out to proactively invite these companies that you're not focusing just on one, that it's really this land use, this business type generally.
Rich, this is going to go a lot further than this, because the state's looking at other legislation, and the Mass Association of Boards of Health are responding to certain state stuff about batteries in particular.
Yeah, I know, there's a whole thing with the batteries coming up.
But this is in the same framework, where you would be able to do a site assignment. If you want to have a battery storage blah, blah, blah place here, you're going to have to go through the Board of Health now in order to get a site assignment if you want that. And that's where the state's going. That's where boards of health are going and we need to move forward with
Well,
that type of thing.
next step then is for us to make a motion to do a site assignment.
That's correct.
I'll make the motion.
For these type of businesses.
Businesses.
So do you want to
Does it
read
have
off
to
the
be made a
agenda?
certain way?
You just say that we want to have a site assignment under Mass General Law. Do you want to, like, it's
Make
on
sure
the
it's made for
agenda?
broad. It's a broad, read this, you're doing it, it's not, you're not making one site assignment, you're making.
It's
All right,
for
Kevin,
this-
why don't you read it then?
Do
Yeah, you can read it, and then I'll just so move.
you want to add anything?
Well, I think we were, to Rich's comments here, I think we were invited to make a site visit. As a board, we can go visit on our own to the other two.
To the other
The other two.
facilities?
So that's,
Yeah.
that's very possible, and now we want a third visit. We want to be able to visit that one, and that's going to
This isn't
require a
A site
further step.
assignment,
So what I would say in response to that is, as part of the site assignment process,
yeah.
Yeah.
you would be well within your rights as a
We
board.
would be in our rights to ask, but we're not looking
Opportunity to
to.
visit
In
the
the
site.
general concept, though, we are checking on all three of these.
Yeah.
To some
So-
degree.
so we're
We
doing
have to
this-
go to a different degree for one of them because it's a more of a legal process.
No,
No,
all
they-
three of them are going to go through a legal process. The process is,
Yeah, once
these
we-
type of facilities, broad.
Okay.
These three companies that we have invited in,
Gotcha.
that are the exact same type of businesses.
Let me bring that back in. So I guess the question at this point is, does the board believe that these types of businesses have the potential to have a health or environmental
Yeah.
effect on the citizens of Sturbridge? And if so, would you like to have these site assigned in the future, so they all come in front of you and we go through this process?
Like we had
and say-
tonight, like the other ones
And it's
brought
very
in.
similar with, if it's close to the wetlands, the Conservation Commission looks at it. If it's
Yeah.
zoning commission, zoning. So this is a broad brush over this whole type of industry. They will come and see us, and then we will, all these things that are presented today, I was very happy that some of them came here, because I knew that some of them are gonna show us the Cadillac version of what's out
Yeah,
there.
that's what I thought,
Which was
too.
nice.
Well, it also shows you that,
You can't do it.
well, there's
There's some that fall through the cracks, too, because of non-conforming and pre-existing.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are still,
Oversight.
some boards' hands are tied
oversight.
because of this.
Because right now, we have no oversight at that facility unless we actually have a site
Site
assignment.
assignment.
Or actually technically on any of those facilities,
Okay.
you know? So I mean,
All right,
I
so
think
why
it
don't you
opens
read
the
them?
door where we can say, we could set up all the different parameters of what we expect from them, to get from them, and then what we expect to do. 2 inspections a year, we can go out, but, so that's down the road.
Right.
But the first step is this, so that we can
Okay.
actually get someone to come to our meeting
Yeah.
and ask them what they are doing there. So that's the first step, so.
Okay.
Do you want me to read?
You can
oh,
read it
you want
in
me
a
to read
second,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so we are voting to have a Noisome Trade site assignment for the type of, just tell me if I'm not reading this, doing this right, for the type of facilities for the land use. I'm reading this, so for the land use, for long-term outdoor storage of wrecked, dismantled, unserviceable, junked, abandoned, or inoperable motor vehicles or parts thereof, and should require a site assignment by the Board of Health under Mass General Law, Chapter 111, Section 143. Does that sound all right? Okay,
Right, I second.
all right.
So let's be clear, are we talking about all three organizations?
three.
Okay, yeah, all three will come under us.
Yes.
And if I
It
might,
might be more. It could be
It could be
anybody else
more.
that meets this
It could-
definition in the future.
These are just
Right,
three
yeah.
that we knew of.
We know
that-
in town.
Ken took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
It's, there are 3 such uses in town now, there may be more in the future.
Somebody could come in next week and want to
Yeah,
open up a
and we need
place.
to at least have something to say what you have to do.
And before you vote, just so you know, that same definition could be a checklist on a business application when it comes
Right,
through.
when they come in.
And goes, are you doing this? If
Yeah.
so, see the health department for site
So
assignment.
now,
type stuff.
anybody that wants to run this type of business would need to have a site assignment through the Board of Health.
Okay,
Before they even talk to conservation or the select board, or actually, they probably should talk to the select board too, but I'm saying they, you know, they could go to them too, but I'm just saying, they would also go to us. So, does that answer your question?
Yes,
All right.
yes.
So we're all
I
in-
second.
You second
Which
me?
will be approved.
So,
I'm in
all right.
favor.
So we're all in favor, right? Celeste? Did you
Yeah.
get that? All right, all right. Thank you. You
Okay.
got it? So, I hope I read that right, but yeah.
So this begins the journey.
The journey.
The journey.
So, and then we have,
No, we have something to work with now.
but we also have town council. to
Council,
help
yeah,
us
I know.
Shepherd us along, so
Here to help.
we don't have to be, we're not in the wilderness.
No, we're never in the wilderness, right?
No, we're not in the wilderness.
We know what we're doing.
Is there any other,
Well, we're gonna have to send a letter out, so before we do this, I'm gonna ask the boards, I'm gonna make a recommendation, and I'm gonna make sure you guys are good with this. So when we send this letter and invite whoever we're inviting in to come make
at
applications.
least the last three that
I
we
would like
saw,
to give them a
right?
60-day
60 days?
application period.
Is that
That's
is that
probably-
normal? 60?
I would think that's pretty reasonable.
That's
particu-
reasonable, right?
Particularly given the
The
time
time
of
of
year.
year it is, yeah.
It could be 90, I don't think should be longer than
No,
30 is what I'm saying.
I think
but,
60 is
yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
30
because you got
is,
the
might be
holidays
too
now,
short.
so 60's fine.
60 is fine. I think 60 is probably the right number.
Okay, now I have permission to work with Luke and generate the letter and do the stuff?
Now you have to do it
course.
yourself.
Thanks, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Good with that?
And Luke, you'll be in contact with him.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. So is there anything else?
Before we close out, I didn't give you updates. So our landfill project is like 85% done, which we wrapped up probably by the end of the week. And then
Oh, great.
they'll come back in the spring and seed and put up the aerial debris, the containment fence that goes up. So that'll come back in the spring. But I'm doing a walkthrough tomorrow with the engineers and with DPW. So project looks really nice.
DEP, have to take a look or no?
DEP is happy with what we sent them.
Said,
They're happy that they're being updated and what's going on, so, the compaction has already happened, I guess it's sunk a few, some inches or feet, so it looks pretty good out there.
Great.
Pretty happy with that, so by the first of the year, we should be wrapped up and paid out on that.
Good,
That's good.
thank you.
Yeah, it was just a year ago at this time, we met the board, well, our town administrator,
January of last year, of
in January,
25,
just
yeah.
about this time, looking at the long-range plan, what's going to happen, and it sounds like we're doing all the technical things pretty well, wrapping this up. And as part of that, I did inquire to us at our meeting to what role I might be able to play. So I did talk to Robin, our town administrator, to see, my interest is more on the recycling part of it, to see how this whole situation could be addressed as we move forward over the next couple of years. So I did talk to her about that. I mean, she said they don't have a committee yet or anything ongoing exactly.
There's no committee yet. After speaking with the engineers today, there's going to, once they're wrapped up with this project, we're going to have a final survey from them, and they're going to crunch some numbers. So I'm hoping mid-January, or maybe for the February meeting, we'll have new numbers to present that'll either be to the whole board or
To the new board, yeah.
yeah, to this and Robin and whatnot, and have that presentation again, so we can really see, is it still 5 years? Do we gain any time? And then look at what our long-term plan is. Do we want to put a committee together and work on that? So I'm hoping to have new numbers and updates for you January, February.
Okay.
So
good.
probably not our January meeting, but end of January into February, so have those new numbers on capacity up there.
Great,
So,
awesome.
good news. Things are working in a good, positive way.
I'm good.
Do you have anything? No?
No.
Anybody else? No? Okay.
I wanted to I do have one more thing.
Okay.
At our next meeting, I did want to make sure that we discuss the immunization schedules, because it's getting confusing now, and I think people may want to ask their Board of Health, well, what immunization should we have? I'm a pediatrician, so immunizations are pretty important, so
So you want to do that? at the
next meeting, we'll put it on the agenda.
What, is the date good with you guys? And the only thing that we
We
had,
don't-
right
we
now
didn't-
it is.
We don't have a date yet, do we?
Yeah, we put it on it's on the agenda,
Oh, I didn't even look at that, sorry.
10th or 11th?
13th.
13th at 2, does that work for everybody?
Yes,
We won't be doing an evening meeting likely, so is everybody gonna be here?
yes.
Right now, yes.
Let's see.
Looks good for me, too. Okay.
January
Fantastic.
13th, so far it looks
January.
like everybody's good. You don't need to be at that meeting, right?
No, it's a regular business meeting.
That's just regular business meeting.
Yeah.
You'll be talking to Ken anyway, so, yeah. All right, thank you.
But you gotta close the meeting.
I know, I'll make a motion. Close. All right, everybody's out of here. We're all out of here.